What's happening, and welcome to F1 Fresh. If you still haven't heard, the boss of Red Bull, Chris Horner, has talked about the Mercedes car, which was shown off in February of this year, W13, being illegal, and a lot of people are scratching their heads about it and asking why. Here, we're going to take a look at why Christian Horner warned about a legal Mercedes car. Number 5. Diving deep into the Mercedes W13. Before the ride was officially showcased, there was a lot of rumors floating around that Mercedes was planning to debut a type of W13 that was drastically different from its predecessors. This, of course, was proven to be true as it was confirmed by Bahrain testing. The car had extremely narrow side pods, inlets, and in the place of where the frontal bulge, which contained a large radiator, was supposed to be, there was a way narrower housing which slanted inwards from the top when viewed head-on. Another effective way for cooling was made for the W13, which granted it faster speed for cooling. Right from the get-go, the W13 had a pretty wide outer floor channel, but the recent change that its airflow went through was getting a wider entry point to that channel. The air that goes over the floor makes its own positive pressure, which is combined with the low pressure beneath the floor in order to create the downforce. The latest housing unit is located right in the part of the car where the Venturi inlet is sloping downwards. What this will do is that the difference in pressure it generates around the outer front corner of the floor will make the speed of the airflow down the Venturi vent pretty darn fast. To put it simply, the greater the pressure difference, the quicker the Venturi airflow will flow, which will provide it with a greater downforce. Another very important upgrade is that the extra space made in the front of the outer floor will help energize the wide outer channels. How, you may ask? Well, it will basically funnel the air to the back through the Coke bottle section of bodywork and exit from in between the Venturi exit ramps and rear tires. The amount of downforce that the Venturis will produce is directly proportional to the flow coming through the Venturis on the underside. Along with the side pod change, the floor's wavy former outer edges have been switched with a more conventional and straighter edge with a kind of single curl making its way along to create the vortices that the aerodynamic enthusiasts have always wanted. The extra radiator cooling has not necessarily been adapted to the new layout as compared to the Barcelona car, but we do need to keep in mind that the surrounding temperature in Bahrain is way higher than Barcelona. Will this complete change produce dramatic results? Well, that's what we're dying to see, and you, the person who's watching this video right now, probably are too. Number 4. Why is the car so controversial? When Mercedes finally put out their new design, some of the participants of the competition that the car was going to be driven in were absolutely furious. The changes made to the car were nothing short of extreme, as of course we know, the new version of the vehicle lacks side pods. The cooling inlets present on the right side of the chassis near the cockpit were in the form of thin dual vertical slots. The team that the car belonged to, which of course is the Brackley-based team that already redesigned the car twice before the Bahrain testing, and the vehicle as in the development stage in Barcelona, Spain, after which the production of the fairing parts began. Also, keeping in mind the fact that the car's side panels were no longer as wide as side panels usually are and were kept quite narrow at the bottom and instead attached to the cockpit at the top and broadened as it reached the bottom also drew attention. One big advantage that the car enjoyed was that it had a lot more space on the base plate and provided more area for the front diffuser tunnel, which radically improved the downforce. Number 3. Chris Horner's qualms with the car. The biggest concern about the new Mercedes that the competitors had was by far its wing-shaped mirror mount. These wings are basically horizontal wings that are attached to the chassis and have the side mirror placed on top of it. Even though it's officially accepted as the mirror mount, Red Bull apparently isn't a fan of it. These are not mirror mounts, but two wings. They also have vertical baffles built on top. They have nothing to do with the mirror mount, said the boss of Red Bull, Chris Horner himself. These wing-shaped mirror mounts were being seen by not just Horner, but many others as some kind of an unfair advantage as they partly pointed outwards. Red Bull thinks that the Brackley-based team has crossed the white line of innovation, as according to them, their so-called mirror mounts don't correspond to the spirit of regulations, and from Horner's point of view, they're illegal. Number 2, but is Horner really against the car, or is it all a bunch of bogus? What most people haven't even noticed after being caught in the uproar caused by the W13 is that Red Bull denied they ever spoke against the legality of the car in any sort of way. According to Red Bull, Chris Horner has not given any interviews about the vehicle, and therefore any quotes being associated with him are in fact incorrect. However, it's widely believed that Horner indeed spoke to Automotor and Sport. Red Bull, however, then issued another statement which read, "So we are clear, we've made no official comment regarding Mercedes' car and will not be doing so." Horner then came forward in an attempt to clarify his position on the whole fiasco. He said, "To answer the question whether we think it's illegal or not, yes, absolutely. It looks like it ticks all the boxes." He then went on to say, "Comments have been quoted that certainly weren't made. The car is obviously innovative. It's an interesting solution as far as we're concerned. The Mercedes car looks like it complies with the regulations. It's just a different interpretation, a different solution." Horner also addressed the whole quote which he supposedly said about the car being against the spirit of the regulations and said that it wasn't even a valid objection, as according to him, there's not really anything that defines the spirit of the regulation and that it either complies with the regulations or it doesn't. That's not really for us to judge. The FIA have access to all of the drawings. A design like that would have surely been submitted in advance. It's an interesting concept. So is it quick or not? So is it quick or not? Only time will tell, but in terms of its compliance, that's very much an FIA matter, Horner added. The principal of the Mercedes team, Toto Wolff, also had a few things to say. Things like even though the design wasn't cleared by the FIA, he still expected questions over its legality. Number 1. How is the Mercedes car different from the Ferrari? Mercedes and Ferrari are more or less polar opposites of each other. The Mercedes team, after taking inspiration from Alpine, decided to put the cooling elements of their latest car in 2 places. They also have solid just behind the top of the fairing, and the second row of gills has been attached further back into the engine cover. The Mercedes boss Toto Wolff explained that even though his new model of the Mercedes may look completely different from the previous one, he and his team just built a new fairing while the innards underneath remained the same. Also, the new side pod designs are completely different from the Ferrari, as the 2022 Ferrari has large side pods while the Mercedes has no side pods at all. The size of the Ferrari is also huge as compared to the new Mercedes. However, there is no doubt that the Ferrari is still pretty fast and a wonder of a car, according to an engineer who belongs to the Mercedes team. This brings us to the end of our video. Do be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed our content, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon if you wish to be notified of more such content in the future. We'll see you again in another video. Bye now!